What's up guys, AverageGamer here, and today I'm going to be showing you my zombie deck. This is something I've been working on for a little while. It's still a work in progress, but it's still pretty decent as well. It's still, I wouldn't say it would go up against most of the meta decks these days, but if you get the right hand, yeah, you probably could win one turn as well. But most of the time, yeah, you got to play a little bit, but if you get lucky, yeah, you're going to get that nice one turn win. But I'll go through how the deck runs and then show you some replays, and yeah, alright, let's get on with this. So this zombie deck there are a bunch of different ones you can kind of play that revolve around like, let's say decking out your opponent by constantly special summoning or just overrunning them. This one is more based around the Shiranui. Essentially the main cards would be the Shiranui Solitaire, the Uni Zombie, Shiranui Spectral Sword, and then the synchros from it. So I'll get on the way by giving you the cards. So we got one Kasha, one Redoga, one Fushiro Richie, one Red Eye Zombie Dragon, Vampire's Cursed, Great Desert, Patricia, Patrician of Darkness. I'm pretty sure I'm ruining that. We got two Endless Decay, one Heavy Cavalry of Karmatic Flames, one PM Captor, triple Zombie Master, triple Shiranui Samurai, triple Mizuki, two Shutunen Doji, three Shiranui Spirit Masters, two Pyramid Turtles, two Shiranui Smiths, three Shiranui Solitaire, three Uni Zombies, two Beast of the Pharaoh, one Ghost Ash and Beautiful Spring, and three Shiranui Spectral Sword. Got two Book of Life, one Call of Mummy, one Ever Living Underworld Cannon, two Zombie World, two Shiranui Style Synthesis, two Shiranui Style Swallow Slash, and one Shiranui Style Reincarnation. So essentially how you run the deck, your goal is to get out a Uni Zombie. It is the main card. His effects just make the deck go by so much smoothly. Essentially, you can target one face-up monster on the field, discard a card, and if you do, increase that target's level by 1. And then you can also, during the same turn, you can target one face-up monster. You can on the field, you cannot attack for the rest of this turn unless you're using a zombie monster. But then you send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase that level by 1. You can only use each of these once per turn. So essentially, you would send a card from the deck, usually Mizuki, unless you have him in your hand, and increase either the Uni Zombies level by 1, or if there's something else on the field, you can do that. You're trying to get an even number for if you're going to synchro, because all of these synchros are either 6, 8, or 10. So yeah, try and aim for even with what you're planning on synchroing with. And then yeah, use this other effect to send a card from your hand to the graveyard. If you don't start with him, you could use the Shiranui Solitaire, so essentially you have 6 chances to get him, because this Solitaire can tribute one zombie on the monster, special summon a zombie tuner with 0 defense from your deck. So usually you'd summon him, send himself to the graveyard to bring out the Uni Zombie. On some occasions it'd be better to get the Spectral Sword, but usually it's Uni Zombie. And his second effect is, if this card is banished, you can target one other banished Shiranui monster except himself, or 2 if you got the Style Synthesis on the field, and then you can special summon them. Now this works well when you got the Spectral Sword on the field, because if this card was in your graveyard, except for the turn it was sent there, target one non-tuner zombie with this card, banish them both, and then special summon a zombie tuner whose levels equal that. So essentially you would send this and this, banish him, bring out one of your level 6s, and then his effect will activate, pops this back to the field, and then you can bring out the H straight away. Once again, Mizuki, you want to send him to the graveyard because you can banish this card, target any zombie in your graveyard, special summon it, so you can usually pop back the tuners, or one of the synchros if they're in the graveyard, or Solitaire, whatever monster you want. A lot of the times, I will send him to the graveyard usually with this guy, Beast of Pharaoh, because when he is sent to the graveyard for a synchro summon, you can special summon one zombie, level 4 or lower, from your graveyard back to the field. So you'd usually, like I said, a simple play would be if you summon him, if he's in your hand or if that one's in your hand, send the other one to the graveyard, increase his level, then send the other one to his hand, so you have a level 5 uni zombie. Use his effect to pop him back, and then you'll bust out the level 8, and then you can bring back either the uni zombie or whatever else is in your graveyard that's level 4. Now, because a lot of these involve needing to be banished, you've also got the Shiranui Samurai, which can then banish a zombie monster from your graveyard to make himself gain 600 attack. And then if you do this, you can banish any monster this card battle. So even if he loses, your opponent's monster will be banished no matter what. And if this guy is banished, you can target a Shiranui in your graveyard, add it to your hand. The Spirit Master, when he is normal zone, you can special summon a Shiranui from your hand or graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. So that means you can use him to either pop him back from your graveyard, and then he'll get off his effect when he leaves, or you could bring that out from your hand or something and instantly summon, and get it straight out to the banish zone, so when you banish something, one of him again, you can automatically bring it back. Yeah, so there's a few plays there. Another good card that's here is the Zombie Master, because you can send a monster from your hand to graveyard to special summon a level 4 or lower from zombie monster from either player's graveyard, which works well when you got Zombie World on the field, because all monsters become zombie type in the graveyard or on the field. And neither player can tribute summon except zombie type. They can special summon, but it still does stop things, because a lot of cards now specify card types like Spellcaster or Dragon or stuff like that. So this really is good at stopping those. We also have the Shiranui Smith, which when this card is used as a synchro material, you can add a Shiranui card from your deck to your hand. And if this card is banished, you can zombie monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle for that turn. Some of the more random cards I put in, we got the Pyramid Turtle. He's just good at special summoning a zombie with 2000 and less. I'd usually bring out, depending on how much life points my opponent has, an Endless Decay, because his attack is equal to half your opponent's. So if your opponent's on 8000, you got a 4000 straight away. Or you could bring out the Zombie Master or Mizuki or just whatever you want to the field. Got the Ghost Ash and Beautiful Spring, because this can then stop a card effect that allows your opponent to special summon a monster from the deck or send cards from the deck to the graveyard. So that's helpful. We got this guy, the Shuten Doji, because he can banish 2 zombies from your graveyard to draw a card, or target a banished monster to place on top of your deck. Works well with the Shiranui, because you get, if you pop 2 of them, you get 2 effects instead of just 1. And then we got the, let's see, PM Captor. This card is in here. I think I was planning on adding multiple pendulums for the special summoning, but like I said, this is still a work in progress, but it's still a usable deck. We got the Evil Cavalry of Chromatic Flames. This card is because I usually try and special summon him and then normal summon him again, because if he attacks a special summon monster at the start, it's banished instead of, so it's a good way to get rid of something higher level that you can't run over, because most of these cards don't have a lot of attack. The extra deck is a bit different, but yeah. We also got this guy, can't say the first word, but this allows you to choose what cards your opponent attacks. So if you have some lower level tuner on the field and then some high level synchro, force your opponent to go for the high one. Got the Great Desert, because 1, special summon him, and then 2, if this card destroys another monster, as long as he's on the field, spell or trap cards that target this card cannot work, but you use him to special summon the Fushin Richie. And then this guy, you can, as long as this guy remains face up on the field, negate their spell and trap cards that target this card and destroy them, but you can flip him at the end of the turn, once per turn, and then you can flip them back up and special summon a zombie. Red Eye Zombie Dragon works because if you have the, once again, zombie world on the field, you can then special summon a zombie type monster that you destroy from your opponent's side. Red Ogre because you can send cards from the hand to the graveyard to then return your opponent's cards, or your cards if you want, back to the hand. It's a good way to get some cards you want in the graveyard. The Kasha, this card, you have to have 2 or more zombies on the field to special summon them, and then when you do, all other monsters on the field get special summoned back into the deck, and this card gains attack equal to the number of face-up zombie type. Now, I did do this before with Zombie World, and I don't know if it's an error or not, but when my opponent's cards went back, they were all zombies on the field, he didn't gain the attack for that. I don't know if it's either an error or it's supposed to be like that. So if you're going to do this, try and have more zombies on your side of the field. So at least 4 would be a better way, that way he gets 4,000 attack. But yeah, and it's just a good card to have to clear the field. Book of Life, obviously, target a zombie in your graveyard and then target a monster in your opponent's. Special summon yours, banish your opponent's. Call of the Money allows you to special summon zombie monster from your hand. Got to control no cards. This one, when you special summon a zombie monster, inflict damage to your opponent. Got the zombie worlds. The style synthesis, if you have no monsters, you can send a card from your hand to graveyard to target a zombie monster, special summon it, or target one of your banished ones, return it to graveyard. Still have to have a monster in there to start, so don't think it'll work on your first turn, unless you've already sent something there. This card is very good, because you can tribute a zombie monster, target 2 cards from field, destroy them, and banish a Shiranui, so it's all pluses there, because like I said, most zombies work in the graveyard. You're destroying cards in your opponent's side of the field, and you're banishing Shiranui, so you'll get off its effect. And then this card becomes the style synthesis if it's face up, so you'll allow him to get 2 cards. But essentially, you can use this effect once per turn, banish the zombie monster, so you take no damage, or target 2 banished ones with 0 defense, put them back in the deck, and draw a card. So yeah, that's the main deck. As for the extra deck, we'll start with the lesser cards. Got the Doomkaiser Dragon. Now, although it's this one, the Revive King, and the Arc Thing all say Plague Spreader Zombie, this card, when it uses its effect in the graveyard, just negates that part, so you don't have to. That's the only way to get these guys out is from his graveyard effect. But you'll most likely aim for that because it's the better version. But yeah, and so if this card is special summoned, you can target a zombie monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it. So only if you have Zombie World would you bring this guy out. Revive King stops the effect monsters that your opponents have from activating their effects when they're destroyed by zombie monsters. And the Arc Fiend Zombie, your face-up zombie monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that's, depending on which situation, you could use either of those. But the main ones you use are the Shiranui Samurai Saga, which once per turn, during every player's turn, target a banished zombie type monster, shuffle it in deck, and if you do, change to defense. All opponent's monsters that attack is less than to the or equal to the opponent's monster, the card you shuffled back in. So that's a good way to stop attacks, or just make it easier to defeat your opponent if they got lower defense cards and higher attacks, like zombie types. But yeah, and the secondary effect is when he's banished, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, it loses 500. That's not really a big deal, but this guy, really good, because if you when you special summon, banish a zombie monster, and then this guy gains attack equal to it. So if this guy's in your graveyard, like you used him to synchro him out with the Shiranui Spectral Sword, you can then banish him, he'll gain the 2,500, and then you can target your opponent's monster, it'll lose 500. So you already gained 3,000 attack on top of your opponent's monster, and he's already 3,000, so that's, yeah, really good. But when this guy is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target a banished zombie monster 0 defense, return it to the graveyard. So it's a good way to re-get the effects. Usually you bring back the Spectral Sword if it's still banished, and then you can then use this effect again the next turn. And in the last one, the the level 10 one, when this guy's special summon, return any number of zombie synchros from your banish or graveyard to the extra deck, then destroy number of cards equal to the returned synchro. So, like I said, you're trying to get these guys destroyed or sent to the graveyard via synchro, and then bust out this guy, return them back to the extra deck, destroy your opponent's cards, because this deck constantly just recycles itself to bring out these guys. And this card is also good because if a zombie type monster you control would be destroyed by battle card effect, just banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard. So once again, you can re-get the effects of any Shiranui that you've brought back to the graveyard or sent to the graveyard. Yeah, and it just keeps your zombies alive. So that's the deck in a nutshell. Essentially bring out these big guys and just beat your opponent. And you'll see how it works in a few of the duels, and you also see how well these cards just chain together. And yeah, I hope you enjoy.